And moving on, the release of Bill Cosby on a technicality is giving people like British socialite Ghislaine Maxwell the confidence that her case could be overturned on something similar to Cosby. Joining us now for more on that is defense attorney Mark Garrigus. Mark, nice to see you again today. Mark, so there's a lot of talk now, a couple things. One is Ghislaine Maxwell, just to explain if people don't know, so she's the partner and alleged co-conspirator to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. And now her lawyers say that she should be released on similar grounds that Cosby was released on, based on a deal that Epstein made years ago. Do you think that she will?
Well, the difference is that Cosby's case was in the Pennsylvania state court, and he had a argument that is not dissimilar from Maxwell, but Maxwell is in the federal court, and I doubt that the federal courts are going to adopt the same kind of thinking that the state court did. So, the one thing about Maxwell's case is I'm a little perplexed as to why she hasn't been released on bail. It wasn't like she had fled the country. She was in the U.S. She knew there was an investigation. It's always struck me that if somebody was going to make the argument that there's gender bias or whatever else you want to call it, that she should have been out on bail with some kind of electronic monitoring or something else. Clearly, in New York, in the federal system, a lot of males who had the same or if not more resources than she does have been released on bail. So I think that's a stronger argument for her.
So, Mark, remind our viewers, because I know Epstein made that deal that said that any of the co-conspirators, wouldn't, face charges or get in trouble. And just so I'm trying to remember the case, I know that she was basically hiding in New Hampshire, and then, I think it was the FBI. So why would she be hiding if she wasn't in trouble?
Well, the funny thing about the prosecutors is they often argue that somebody is hiding or they're on the run or something like that. In this case, she had the reason they claim she was hiding is because she used a series of LLCs in order to buy the house. She wasn't, if she was going to hide, she certainly had the resources to go to the UK or to Paris and could have stayed there and been out of the reach, arguably, of the extradition treaty based on the charges. She didn't do that. She was here in the U.S. She was available. And my understanding is that her lawyers had been in touch with the prosecution. So I think that's overblown. The prosecutorial deal that they had, which you may remember, was apparently blessed by the federal government. It was a state court plea that Epstein had in Florida that was blessed by a U.S. attorney who later became part of Trump's cabinet. And
right.
and so that has a very similar feel to it on a lot of levels to what happened with Cosby. However, in the federal court, I just think it's a harder kind of uphill battle, if you will, than it was. Remember, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court in the Cosby case was split 4-3. If one judge had flipped the other way, he would not be out today proclaiming his innocence.
Yeah, you're right. It was very close. Also, another thing to this is judge ruled that to unseal dozens of documents about Ghislaine Maxwell's personal affairs, including Epstein and the Clintons. So what do you make of this? What's this going to do for the case?
Well, a little perplexed as to the timing of it. I've been on the other side of that, where I'm defending somebody and I want the prosecution's materials unsealed prior to trial. And I'm always running up against the prosecution saying, no, you can have it afterwards. I've had wrongful death cases involving police where you want a body cam. And they say, no, you can have it after the trial. So I don't understand the release of all these things before the trial, because I think what's going to happen is, you tell me if I'm wrong, if there's some scintillating or scandalous documents in there, I think that's going to create a media feeding frenzy, and that's just going to hamper the idea and the ability of her to get a fair trial and get jurors who haven't already heard about the case.
Yeah, no, you're right. That darn media, Mark, right? They mess everything up. All right, Mark.
Well, it's remember, it's the summer of scandal this year. So
I know. I know. All right, Mark Garrigus, thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy your holiday weekend.
Happy 4th to you.
Happy 4th. Thank you.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.